The war is going to end. When it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end, and this gentleman wants it to end, and Vladimir Putin wants it to end. I think the whole world is tired of it.
All right, joining us now, former National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien. Ambassador O'Brien, thank you. The war is going to end. There's going to be a peace deal. Trump is determined to do that. Ceasefire was waived. Look what he's accomplished just in 3 days, getting all these Europeans here. Nobody believed that was possible. Democrats are saying that the Europeans are there to bully Trump. I don't see any bullying. I just see a determined president who wants peace. And I think the whole world is with him on this. They want a peace deal, Robert O'Brien. What say you?
Hey, Larry, as a litigator of 30 years and having been in mediations my whole career, hundreds of them, President Trump has put on a master class on how to mediate a dispute. I mean, he summoned Putin to Alaska, rolled out the red carpet for him, walked down the red carpet, all smiles and handshakes, and then flew a freaking B-2 bomber over his head and F-22s just as a little, love tap, and we say in diplomacy, the definition of diplomacy is saying the nastiest possible things in the nicest possible way, and that was exhibited in Alaska. Now he's brought the Europeans and Zelensky to the White House, and they're our team, but he's got to maintain a little distance. And what does he want from the Europeans? He wants a security guarantee. He doesn't want American troops in Ukraine. He doesn't want the American Air Force in Ukraine. He wants the British and French Air Force in Ukraine. And he wants German and Polish troops on the ground protecting Ukraine. And so the Europeans who have had a lot to say about the conflict, but have done very little to protect Ukraine, they're now being pulled in. So they're one of the parties in the mediation, the negotiation. And then with Zelensky, he's telling him, hey, Vladimir, I'm going to give you security guarantees. You may not join NATO, but I'm going to give you the equivalent of NATO. We're going to put European troops on the ground, and the Europeans are going to want medevac from the U.S. They're going to want intelligence from the U.S. And we'll provide that, and that will be the cement that holds the whole thing together.
But Robert O'Brien, $64,000 question, $64 million, whoever knows. Will the Europeans put their troops on the ground? There has to be a red line, because Putin's going to get a lot of what he wants with respect to the Eastern Province. He's going to get more than he deserves. Everybody knows that if there's going to be a deal. Will the Europeans produce a security guarantee? Troops on the ground, unfortunately. We can do air power, as General Keane suggested, but somebody's got to have boots on the ground. Will the Euros do it, Robert?
They're going to have to do it, Larry. And look, that was the beauty of the mainstream press, and that these establishment foreign policy people have no idea what was going on. The Europeans weren't coming to bully Trump. The Europeans were being summoned by Trump, and were going to be told by President Trump to put skin in the game, that this is not going to be a U.S. deal all alone, that we'll provide them the intel, we'll provide them the refueling for their jets, we'll provide them the logistics and the medevac. But their troops are going on the ground, and you're going to see a British and French air wing, not just a squadron. You're going to see a whole British and French air wing on the ground protecting Ukraine. And so, they may have thought they were coming in to tell Trump what was going on. They came here and they understood that they were going to play a role too, beyond just being in the peanut gallery, popping off with ideas. They were going to actually put their money where their mouth was.
Trump gets a meeting Friday. If he gets a trilateral meeting Friday, can that move the ball? How far can that move the ball? I mean, Zelensky and Putin apparently are not the best of friends, but Trump is there. He's the broker. He's the mediator. He's the president of the United States, who's the most powerful and popular guy on the globe right now. Can he get it done? Trilateral. What do you think?
He can do it. He's going to be like Teddy Roosevelt with the Russo-Japanese War 100 years ago, 120 years ago. He's going to do the same thing here. He's going to pull the parties together, and he's going to clean up Joe Biden and Barack Obama's mess. Because remember, Larry, this whole thing started in 2014 when the Obama-Biden administration were in place, and they were so weak. They were so weak with Iran. They were so weak with their red lines in Syria that Putin thought he could take Ukraine, and he took Crimea, he took the Donbass and most of what he's got now. And then he didn't do anything in the 4 years we were there. When you and I were in the White House with President Trump, no movement. And as soon as Biden got in office, he went again and took another chunk of Ukraine. So Trump is trying to clean up the Obama-Biden mess. And I don't want to hear from one more Obama or Biden foreign policy specialist criticizing Trump for getting this done. When it was Donald Trump who sent him the Javelin missiles that prevented Putin from taking Kiev in the first place, and that it was Donald Trump who's now cleaning up their boss's mess.
Yes, sir. You are right. I think, you know what? You get a trilateral meeting, Trump will turn that into a success also. He's a determined guy. Can't bet against him. Ambassador Robert O'Brien.
100%.
Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.